बहुत कॉमिक ना लग रहा है, ना लग रहा है
आई एम थिंकिंग कि एक बार उनको बेसिक्स का बोल दूंगा, फिर उसके बाद आई विल से कि लेट्स कीप इट इंटरैक्टिव जब सब क्लियर हो जाएगा, सो एवरीवन कैन आस्क क्यू एंड ए, डिस्कशन विल बी ओपन।
ठीक है अमित भाई, मैं आपको अमित भाई का सॉरी मैं
हाँ
होस्ट अक्षय भाई मैं बना रहा हूँ,
हाँ
चेंज होस्ट डन।
ओके। कितनी देर लगेगी निमित वैसे?
मुझे मुझे आइडिया नहीं है, मैं आपको नंबर भी व्हाट्सएप कर देता हूँ उनका।
अच्छा अच्छा ठीक है, आराम से।
व्हाट्सएप आया होगा।
आया है, शाश्वत डिट्टो इंश्योरेंस।
ठीक है।
इनको किस केस में फोन करना है मुझे अगर कुछ भी इशू हुआ तो?
क्या
इनको किस केस में फोन करना है मुझे? इंश्योरेंस।
आप रिकॉर्डिंग कर लेना।
वैसे चालू कर दिए ना।
ठीक है ठीक है।
हाँ यूट्यूब पे तो लाइव चल ही रही है ना, इशू
हाँ
नहीं
हाँ
है। Good evening, Kamshit sir. How are you?
Good.
So good to see you after so long. By the way, congratulations
जैकेट में
again.
बैठे हो, मुझे लगा पीछे बैकग्राउंड में तुम कोई हिमालय का ही ऐसे फोटो लगा दो। पीडीआई का कहाँ है?
अरे सही में ठंड बहुत है यहाँ पे।
तो रियलिटी में कहाँ पे हो?
उदयपुर ही
घर
हो सच्ची में।
पे ही हो?
हाँ घर पे उदयपुर ही।
अरे भाई बहुत ठंड है। तुम्हारे यहाँ तो माइनस तक नहीं पहुंचा ना? आबू में तो माइनस चल रहा है।
हाँ कुछ जो रूरल एरियाज होते हैं वहां पे पहुंचा है माइनस में।
ओके। तुम्हारे यहाँ कितना है मिनिमम?
3-4 चलता रहता है।
अरे वाह।
गजब है। हो।
और क्या नया पुराना?
बस अभी और क्या है, बस नया साल चालू हुआ है, अब देख रहे हैं।
कौन से नए क्लाइंट्स मिल गए तुम्हें?
नए क्लाइंट्स तो मैं वही प्रेफर करता हूँ, एलुमनाई हो तो पहले प्रेफरेंस देता हूँ कि यार इनसे काम करने में अच्छा लगता है।
प्रेफरेंस क्या है उसमें? जो ज्यादा वैल्यू दे टाइम का वो तुम्हारा फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी।
हाँ, उनके डोमेन्स में मजा आता है, पर सुन के अलग अलग डोमेन्स होते हैं ना, तो सीखने को ही मिलता है बहुत कुछ।
वो भी है, सही बात है।
और सर आपने कहाँ तक एक्सपैंड किया अभी?
हमने एक्सपैंड नहीं किया है, हमने रिवर्क किया है।
ओह
मैं
नाइस।
दिवाली के पहले महीने का 120 टन पास्ता बेच रहा था। करंटली आई हैव कम डाउन टू 30 टन पास्ता।
क्यों? Why?
बेसिकली वी हैव चेंज द मार्केट। जो थोड़ा जिस मार्केट में मार्जिन का बहुत मारा मारी था उसमें से निकल के वी आर क्रिएटिंग अ स्मॉलर पॉकेट फॉर आवरसेल्फ एंड देन slowly grow from 30 to again 50 70 वैसे। हम लोग पूरा वो सब चेंज किया है इधर। तो अभी आराम है, अच्छा है। there is less pressure of work, less worry।
सही।
अहमदाबाद आना होता है नहीं होता है?
सर लास्ट वो आया था मैं शादी अटेंड करने, अब तो दोस्तों की सबकी शादियां खत्म हो गई, तो अब पता नहीं कब आऊंगा।
अच्छा, अभी तुम्हारे बैच में शादी सीजन चल रहा है सबका।
हाँ, अब सबकी हो ही गई है अहमदाबाद में।
हमको भी उदयपुर आना है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
उदयपुर तो वैसे भी, उदयपुर या जयपुर, उदयपुर में ही हो रहे हैं ना आजकल।
उदयपुर 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 राइट।
अमित भाई सब लोग जा रहे हैं अभी, बैक टू बैक मीटिंग वहीं पे हो रही है उदयपुर में।
प्लानिंग हो रही है, मीटिंग नहीं हो रही।
I think we have with us Mr. Sugundan with us from Ditto Insurance,
Yeah.
and Swapnil Shinde sir, our guest speaker, has also joined in.
Hello, Akshay.
Mr. Ditto, he's from our
Hello.
from the guest speaker type.
Guest speakers, so this time guest speakers.
Okay.
Okay. Swapnil sir, good evening.
Hey, hi everyone. And don't call us sir. Everyone is at the same age. I might be less than what you are. I'm like 22 right now. So
Oh, super and very great.
so you calling me sir is like
No, I'll say Swapnil Bhai. In Gujarat, we say it as Bhai, so we'll say Swapnil Bhai.
yeah, that's absolutely perfect, I guess. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So right now we have our alumni with us, Mr. Kankshit Modi from Ahmedabad and Mr. Amit Lakhani from Ahmedabad.
Okay. Awesome. That's great.
So,
So Akshay, can I get a little understanding? Like, yeah, I'm just 22. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And yeah. So can I get an idea like what background does the crowd have? Like, let's say, which field are they working in, or what are their approximate ages, let's say, or something like that.
So our institute is Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India. So most of the people who pursue the courses at EDIA are either from family businesses or they go on to launch their own startups. So you can say that most of them are into family businesses, very good family businesses with expansion all across India and sometimes across the borders too. And the ones who are doing startups are of our age itself. So yes, few of them are senior executives too. So most of them are, we can say, entrepreneurs.
Okay, awesome. Cool.
I'll put a photo in group.
अमित जी फर्स्ट टाइम आपका फिनटॉक अटेंड कर रहे हैं?
You are attending for the first time.
Swapnil bhai, Mr. Kankshit Modi is the owner of a pasta manufacturing unit in Ahmedabad.
Okay, that's interesting.
Huh.
Awesome.
Just a minute, I'm texting everyone to come.
Sure, no problem.
And anyways, this is going live on YouTube also, so maybe people must be watching there.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm guessing there will be an introduction of Ditto and the group at the later point of time.
Yeah, I will make sure that as I start, I will talk about how the whole Ditto thing started, because you are like entrepreneurs, guys. So you will like to hear the story. So that's
Yeah,
something I will talk about. And if you want, I can start right now also. It depends on you, Akshay. Like, how do you want to go ahead? And
that call Akshay will take.
yeah,
Give me 5 minutes. I'm
sure, no
asking more
problem.
people to join. Then we can of course
Yeah.
start.
Perfect. Yeah. So I will tell about how the whole Ditto thing started, because here we
Where
are
are
trying to
you
do
based?
something a little
Where are you based?
different.
Where are you based right now? We can
I am
talk
based
other
out of
stuff right now.
Mumbai. Yeah, sure. I am based out of Mumbai. So I live in Panvel. Not sure if you know, but yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
Navi
see,
Mumbai.
I've done my engineering from Mumbai.
Ooh, that's awesome. Is it like NMIMS, JBIMS, or something like that?
Panvel. I've played at CBD, the Bilapur. There is a college, right? Engineering, medical
Yeah,
and engineering college.
yeah.
I should come and play football tournaments there.
Oh, awesome. I think many years back, Navi Mumbai was like a forest zone. It was like far away from the main Mumbai, like that. But yeah.
I still feel the same whenever I come to Mumbai.
Yeah. I'm the end of Mumbai, you can say. From me, the Pune is like closest, like that. So I'm the end of Mumbai. Okay. We are actually based out of Bangalore in terms of company, but we have that work from home model because we are like let everyone enjoy their personal lives, like that. So yeah.
So what do you like more, Mumbai or Bangalore?
I have never went to Bangalore. I only went to Mysore
No way.
once, like
You
that.
have your office in Bangalore. You are what is your senior executive something, right? What's your
Yeah.
position there?
Yes, senior insurance advisor, like that. So it has been a year or so for me. But the
I
thing
have
is,
to go to Bangalore.
I like matlab, shant places like that. And Bangalore, I'm scared of due to the traffic a little bit. I've heard some
There in
stories.
Mumbai as well.
Yeah, that's very true. But the local runs in Mumbai, right? So if you are familiar with it, it feels safe kind of. So that's why I have went to Bangalore once because like I had like kind of an interview kind of stuff in Mysore. But just give me a second.
Hmm.
So that is why I've been to Bangalore, but not for a long time. Very small thing like that. But yeah.
I love the Bangalore clubs and pubs vibe much more than Mumbai.
Okay. We'll try it out maybe whenever I go. So yeah.
So yeah, the
They
morning
should
walk.
allow me now, I guess, because I am
Yeah,
22. But if
yeah.
I would have gone earlier, they wouldn't have allowed me. So
Yeah. So okay, so uh, yes, let's start. I'll give you first an intro. Like FinTalks
sure.
is the series that was started by our own alumni association. And like we wanted to increase and improve the financial awareness among our own alumni. So we thought, of course, everyone left college since long time back. So why not get together for something that interests everyone, money and how to gain returns on it. So for the first 4 sessions, we had guest speakers like sharing their knowledge and awareness on stocks, investments, and personal finances. And so this is the first time that we are having a session on insurance. and Nimit has been planning this since like 2 months. So finally today it's becoming a reality. So it's like now over to you.
Okay, cool. For such
Please
a
give your
like
intro.
yeah, so it's like awesome initiative that you guys are taking. Sorry for that. So yeah, it's always good to talk about personal finance and all, because these are the things we might not get to learn, and these things keep on changing always, right? There is some or other thing that comes up. Yeah, that's awesome. So today I am here to talk about the insurance thing. As you said, it's like a first time. So I will just give a little brief about what insurance is. So till the time you have talked about how to grow your money, right? By different avenues, be it stocks, be it mutual funds, whatever you might have talked. So today is very different. Today, what we are going to talk about is whatever money you are growing, is that how to protect yourself from some, let's say, unfortunate situations which can kind of a little bit wipe out your wealth. Like that. So that's the whole idea of insurance. So I will recommend everyone ki if you get calls from any people like from banks and all, never like try to take investments into insurance, because these are not like the best avenues to do investments in. Just look at insurance as a pure protection thing, not an investment thing. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind. And another thing, just I will talk about Ditto a little bit, because you are like entrepreneur guys and you might be interested like how this thing works out. I'm not sure like how many of you have checked a website or something. You can just check it out on joinditto.in. And I will give my background. I was a computer science developer. I have worked for clients like Bank of America and all. And it's like I was a backend developer, but at Ditto, everyone is like that. So my best friend at Ditto is actually chef from Taj, like that. Like we have auditors, lawyers, CAs, even doctors, kind of stuff. Like everyone is there, even stand-up comedians, screenplay writers, like that. So that's how the whole Ditto is created. And the concept behind that is whenever we are advising someone, we want a level of objectivity to be there, a rational thinking to be there, and we don't want anyone from an insurance background or the sales or marketing, because the way these people talk or the that's very different. Because at Ditto we want to create a system where we impart knowledge to people. Our idea is never to sell something to a person. So that's the whole aim with which Ditto started. That's why there is like this huge diversification of what you can say interests or backgrounds of people, like that. So that's how Ditto started, and we had a our own newsletter. Some people might know about it. It's called FinShots. It's very famous across India. It's like number one finance podcast, number one finance news app, and all. So there we used to get like a lot of emails from people asking us about investment, insurance, and all. And what we actually saw is a lot of people are taking wrong decisions regarding insurance. So that's how this idea came up, to give right advice to people. And how the name Ditto came up is something like, if I am giving advice to, let's say, Akshay, then what I will think about is, if I am in his shoes, how I will do things for myself. Like that. That's why the name Ditto came up. And our founders presented the idea in front of like Zerodha, like they are the investors in us, like Nitin and Nikhil Kant, and they liked it, and that's how the whole thing started and all. But yeah, so that's the background of Ditto. And today I am here to help you with a very important part, which is like health insurance. And I think a lot of people now like are tending towards that because of maybe COVID. COVID had like given a lot of lessons to a lot of people, and that had a very good, I would say, awareness for health insurance has increased a lot. Right? So that's something that is there. But still, there are like a lot of factors that we don't take into consideration, or we don't know. Like it has been a year for me, but when I was in IT, if I compare my knowledge of insurance versus today, it's, I would say, drastically different. Like that means a lot of things we just take for granted, but in insurance a lot of things are very tricky, like that. So that's what I am here to like simplify things for you. So that's what my work is. So what I will do is I will just share my screen, and I will just start with our session. So yeah, we are going to discuss all about like health insurance and all. And if you have any doubts in the middle, you can just ask me, or at the end, so we will have a Q&A kind of small stuff will be there. So yeah, that's always going to be there. So yeah, let's move ahead into the health insurance part about the whole insurance planning thing. So as I told you, this is like a security instrument. This is not about investing money, growing it and growing your wealth. This is all about security like that. So let's say if something unforeseen happens, let's say we want to protect against that situation, and we want to also make sure that because of that unforeseen situation, our wealth doesn't deplete. Because, for example, I will give you my personal example. A lot of my like friends, families had to remove a lot of money from mutual funds and stocks in the COVID because their family members got hospitalized. And at that time, the market had gone like down by like 30-40%. So they had to redeem at very low values, I would say, like that. And that's like the money that they lost, right? If they would have been there, they might have not lost the money. So that's the whole idea. We wanted to make sure that the financial loss should be minimal. That's the whole idea. And as I mentioned, it's an expense. It's not an investment. That's the biggest point that you have to keep in mind. And there are a lot of types of insurances, like car insurance that you might be having, home, health, life, travel, and there are so many types of it. But today we'll discuss primarily on like health insurance part, because that's something we believe that every person in India should have it. Like that's a necessary kind of stuff. So, yeah. And most important part is all of this is at a nominal cost if you compare it to how much a person has to put if they get hospitalized. So it's at a nominal cost. So yeah, that's the idea of it. And yeah, it's all about like what are the benefits of insurance. If I summarize in a normal manner, all of people like in December, we had a lot of people that were coming to us and wanted to buy health insurance and all. And when I used to ask them, they never used to tell me, ki, okay, I want peace of mind or sense of comfort. They're like, my tax declaration is coming up, so I want to save the taxes like that. So a lot of people have that thing, ki they know, okay, I will save my taxes. But more than taxes, I would say the most important thing is about peace of mind. Because in life, like I personally am a Morgan Housel follower. I'm not sure like if any of you know it. He has written a book called Psychology of Money. It's one of the wonderfulest book. So in FinTalks, I will tell you like if you are having such a session, maybe you can talk about that book, some points from it also one day. That can be a session because it's like awesomest book out there. I have even gifted to 20 of my friends like that. So, and in that, he highlights that in life, if something is very important, then that's the good night's sleep that you have. Whatever happens, you should not be in a position where you're not able to sleep. The peace of mind should be there, a sense of comfort. Even if something bad happens like that, still we have a backup plan or we have something like that. So that's how it is. And I personally believe like when I tell people about like something like insurance is stuff which you actually should not need to use like that. Means you should like live fit and fine lives. That's what I also like pray for all of your families. But it's just like that stepney in the car which we always keep it, but we never intend to use it. Okay, so it's always there, but we are never thinking कि नहीं आज मैं stepney use करूंगा. No one has that aim to do it, but if there is a case we have to use, right? So that's the stepney is what you can consider insurances. And one good thing about insurances in India is it's regulated by IRDA, and IRDA has been very strict about a lot of rules and regulations, which is kind of helping us people get the best experience out of the insurances. So yeah, that's how it is. Then yeah, let's go to the next part. How the whole health insurance thing kind of works out. So in India, the thing is very simple. You can get a protection against anything for which you are getting hospitalized. It can be an injury due to accident, or it can be any kind of illness. But you have to keep few things in mind that no cosmetic surgeries are covered. Something like someone is trying to do a plastic surgery to enhance something like that, or they are doing something other like let's say fat reduction or whatever it is. Enhancement surgeries are not covered because there is no illness behind it. So the idea of health insurance is if a person has an illness, if a family is going to suffer, has to pay a lot of money to the hospitals, that should be covered. That's the idea. So for accidents and illnesses, health insurances kind of cover them. So yeah. Then the next thing that comes into picture is about when you are looking at any of a insurance product, what all factors you should look into when you're buying it. Because if you look at, like, if you go to any website now, like I used to be IT guy, I used to just explore websites when I wanted to buy a health plan. And I'm like, okay, there are 10 different options that are in front of me. And it makes our life very hard because as per us at Ditto, we believe if someone is given a lot of options, decision making process becomes more harder. Like that. So that's what we believe at Ditto. But yeah, so at Ditto, we make sure that whenever we recommend something to people, we understand their situation and we recommend them very few things so that they don't get confused and all this thing. So that's what we are looking at. But yeah, I will also tell you how you can by yourself explore the options and how you can see, okay, this insurance has this feature which should not be there or which should be there but it's not present. So we'll talk about some of the things that you should look into, something like pitfalls and all. So yeah, we'll talk about that. Sorry for that. So the first biggest thing that we have to consider when buying any health insurance is about co-payments. So how this co-payment clause work is, in the name also it says ki co-payment, that means kind of sharing a payment like that. So let's say I used to work in a company, it was like a product-based company, and we had a 30% co-payment in our corporate plan. So what does this mean is, if there is a claim that comes up for whatever amount, let's say my health insurance is 10 lakhs, and if the claim comes up for 10 lakh rupees, then out of that claim, if 30% co-payment is there, that much percentage of money I have to pay mandatorily out of my pockets, like that. So if it's 30%, you have to pay, let's say out of 10 lakhs, 3 lakhs you have to pay. If it's 20%, 2 lakhs, like that. And this co-payment clause never makes sense. And a lot of companies give this as a feature also. Some companies will say, ki, you want to reduce the premiums, you pay 20% co-payment and will reduce your premium cost by 20%. Like that option also some companies get. But never fall for that option. Reason is the premiums are very small part that you pay. You saving like, let's say 20% on premium can be like 5,000 or 4,000. Like, even if I think about very like big things. But when the claim comes up, paying 20% out of that your pocket is going to be a big sum. So never fall for a co-payment clause. Always look into a company which doesn't have any co-payment clauses like that, and never opt for any voluntary co-payments also. So yeah, that's all about how the co-payments work. Then the next thing is about waiting periods. And waiting period is something I have personally, whenever I talk to people who already have insurances, still I have seen ki a lot of people don't know ki there are mandatory waiting periods by government of India, and there are some waiting periods depending on the pre-existing conditions also. For example, I will first talk about the mandatory waiting periods. So if someone buys a health insurance, let's say today, then they cannot claim anything in the next 30 days except accidents. That's called the initial waiting period. That is the first one. This is a government mandated one. Another waiting period that is there is something like, in the first 2 years of buying a plan, a person cannot claim anything like kidney stone, hysterectomy, hernia, and all these things. So it's like a list of things which is there, and this is like across companies it's going to be the same. These two waiting periods are by government of India, and it's going to be the same across all the companies. So that's how it is. Yeah. Yeah, Rishabh. So do you have any doubts currently? Um, Hello. Yeah, no problem. Cool. So the waiting period we were talking about was the initial and the specific illness. These two waiting periods we are done with. And the last but the most important waiting period is about pre-existing conditions. And how this pre-existing condition waiting period works out is, let's say a lot of people in India, when their age increases, or our parents might have a blood pressure or a diabetes. But the problem with that is if someone is taking any medications or is detected with these things or had some past surgeries, then that gets categorized under a pre-existing condition. So I will give you an example. If someone has a critical, like pre-existing condition as a hypertension, that's high blood pressure, then anything related to high blood pressure will not be covered for 3 to 4 years in a policy. So you have to check for that waiting period, how many years they are not covering. And the biggest catch in that is we are like, okay, they are not covering what you can say, the hypertension ka things. But indirectly, if you look into it, hypertension is anything related to blood, like that. So that means kind of anything related to heart is not going to be covered for 3 to 4 years, which is a big risk, which we have to think when we buy insurances for our parents and all. So that's something we recommend. Waiting periods you have to have a very close eye on. Then another thing is disease-wise sublimits. So this is something which is put in. For example, you might see a lot of plans which will be like a 1 crore health insurance or something like that. There are a lot of such things, but what happens is you have to make sure that whenever any product you're buying, they haven't put a condition कि we'll give you a 1 crore plan, but if a person gets diagnosed with something related to heart, we'll only pay 5 lakhs. This is called a disease-wise limit. If something related to lungs, we'll only pay 10 lakhs, like that. If there are such limits that are put into place, then you should not go for such plans because we cannot actually say, right, ki, okay, if this thing happens, we'll need only this much money. We cannot guarantee that. So it's always good to have the whole plan to yourself, irrespective of the diseases, like that. So, and the last and the most complex pitfall out of it is a room rent restriction. So when I was in IT, the company I used to work for used to give like a 5 lakh ka cover, and most of the people that have plans, mostly their plans will say you can get into a room of 1% of your sum insured. That means if 5 lakh is your sum insured, 1% of that is 5,000 rupees. So you can buy 5,000 rupees ka room only, like that. And some companies will tell you you can buy a single private room, which is much more good than what the 1% or so is. But I used to think in IT, ki, "Arey, that's okay. It's just like 5,000 ka room I buy, and whatever extra is there, I will pay out of my pockets. That's okay." So I live in Mumbai, and my family has a habit of going to like Apollos and Fortis. So if you know, they have a reputation for, matlab, what you can say, the things are costly a little bit, like that. So bills can go haywire. And I used to think, ki, let's say if I get my parents or someone admitted into a 10,000 rupees room for let's say 5 days. So what will happen maximum? Ki every day they are covering for 5,000. I have to pay the rest 5,000 for 5 days. That is 25,000. But that's not how insurance works out. And I got to understand this after joining Ditto. But a lot of people in my company had like suffered a lot because of this. Because whenever someone used to do a claim, I had seen ki we had a 5 lakh ka cover, but no one ever got 5 lakh rupees for a cover. They used to always get like 1.33, 2.5 lakhs or so. No one used to go close to 5 lakhs. And after going under like entering Ditto, I understood, okay, what's the actual reason behind it? The reason was room rent restriction. And how this works out is in the room rent restriction, let's say if you're allowed to have a room of 5,000 rupees, and if you buy a 10,000 rupees room, what they will do is they have a clause key, there is a multiplicative factor that comes into place. Key, let's say if a 5 lakh bill is there, and what they will do is they will multiply the total bill that you made in a hospital multiplied by how much amount ka room you were allowed to buy, that is 5,000, divided by how much amount ka room you actually did buy, that is 10,000. So 5,000 divided by 10,000 is half, and they will multiply that half into your total bill. So actually what is happening because of this room rent is if you go in a high cost room, you might get very less amount of claim. So in this case, the guy will only get half the claim. If he had gone for a 15,000 ka room, he would have gotten only one third the claim, like that. It is very tricky. Okay. And for a normal guy, this is out of the mind. So I also used to think, okay, it's a normal thing, but no, that's not how insurance works. And the reason behind that is they say if you go in more and more higher rooms, even the same doctor coming to you and consulting you, the charges will be higher. And that's actually true. Like that. A doctor going into a general ward, how much they charge for a visit versus a single private room. A lot different. So yeah, that's something. Room rent restriction is what you have to keep in mind. Uh, Apart from that, there are some good features that a person should have when they buy a health insurance. One of them is called a no claim bonus. And in the name only, it suggests that if you don't make a claim, you get a bonus. So let's say if I have a 10 lakh ka plan today, and if I don't make a claim, good companies will give you like a 50% bonus. So from 10 lakhs, your plan will jump to 15 lakhs next year. Again, if you don't make a claim, it will jump to 20 lakhs. But there will be a capping to it. Mostly up to 100% will be the capping, depending on the company to company. But just keep in mind, if you make a claim, that no claim bonus gets deducted also. So if I don't make a claim for 2 years, I am at 20 lakh rupees. And if I make a claim, the bonus will come down to 15 again. But next year, again, if I don't make a claim, it will again go to 20. So it's like a back and forth game that gets played on. Yeah, that's something that is there. So having a good no claim bonus is always good so that you are getting something if you are healthy like that. So that's one. Apart from that, another thing is pre and post hospitalization, which you have to look into. And how this pre and post hospitalization works out is pre means if I'm hospitalized today, whatever, like let's say last 60 days or so, medicines and test kharcha they will cover. And post means if I'm hospitalized, like if I'm discharged today, next 3 or 6 months ka whatever is the medicines and tests they will come like that. So this is very important because we have seen a lot of people after their treatment has to go to let's say physiotherapy and all those things. And sometimes these things cost a lot. So with this pre and post, you can get it covered. So yeah, pre and post is something you should have. But depending on policy to policy, the number of days varies. So you have to look into how many days you are getting. That's one thing. Apart from that, free health checkup is something, if it's there, it's very good. And how this works out is they will either have a mobile app where you can directly book appointment of nearest centers, like which are like tied up to them, and you can get it done free of cost, or you have to do it by yourself first and then get it reimbursed like that. But just keep in mind that whenever you are buying a policy, ask for how much reimbursement I will get. Because it's not like I will do 10,000 ka medical checkup and I will say ki de do mujhe 10,000. It's not like that. What will happen is they will have a capping over it. Ki they will pay only 2,000 rupees or they will pay 5,000 rupees maximum. Right? So that capping you have to keep in mind. Then another last two features that you need to have is one is called daycare. And how this daycare works is there are a lot of technologies that are coming now because of which a person don't has to get hospitalized for everything. They can just admit in the let's say 9 in the morning and get discharged at like 5 6 like that. That's called a daycare procedure. There are more than 500 or so daycare procedures out there. And so if your plan covers daycare procedures, all those advanced things are also covered. So this is like a mandatory thing that you should look into. Apart from that, this is like a restoration is a benefit which you will be shocked to listen and you will be saying ki Swapnil, ye to too good to be true hai. Because these were my words when I looked into this restoration. What this restoration means is just like we have our smartphone ka batteries, right? We use it, it discharges, and when we want, we can just plug into a charger and get charged full every time we want. So how the restoration works is, let's say if you go into the best policies of India currently, they will have a unlimited restoration. That means a person can get hospitalized unlimited times in a year, and every time they can claim, if he has bought a 10 lakh plan, he can claim 10 lakhs every time for each and every hospitalization. If a person has bought a 20 lakh ka policy, every time 20 lakhs he can claim like that. So this is the awesomest feature out there. And a person might think, ki, okay, but why do I need this? Ki, like there are very few cases where a person has to admit like a lot of times like that. But what we at Ditto believe is it's a good to have feature. It's not costing too much of our money. And if it's been given, that's good to have because there are cases like let's say cancer, where the chemo has to be done multiple times, or dialysis, and all these things. In that things, you have a peace of mind because every time you go, you are covered. You don't have to worry like that. So all the critical illnesses will be sorted if a person like has like an unlimited restore ka feature. So that's something we recommend to people. And the next thing is something like why to buy like health plans early. This is like a very frequent question that comes up because a lot of people, if they are working, let's say, as you mentioned, that a lot of your people are doing their businesses, so they might have their own company ka plan, which they have given for their like employees and all. But how this works is we recommend to have you should buy a personal plan also very early because when a person is young, they are healthy. They don't have any pre-existing conditions. But once a person gets into a pre-existing condition, be it diabetes, be it BP, or as the age increases, there will be a mandatory co-payments that kick in, where you cannot just get out of those co-payments. You are stuck with it like that. And there are permanent exclusions that also can come up. So I will tell you like recent cases. In the last 2 3 days, I'm talking to a lot of people whose parents had gotten an angioplasty like that. But unfortunately, I'm helpless in their case because I cannot give them the best plan of India because like the best plans are not given for someone who already had an angioplasty. And even if the plans which are given, they put a big mandatory co-payment of something like 20 30%, and they will also permanently exclude anything which happens to heart like that, which is a very big risk like that. So that's why we recommend it's always good to buy a health plan when a person is early in their life like that. Then the another thing that comes into picture is okay, Swapnil, ye to ho gaya, we bought a health plan, everything is done. We bought it early also. But what about the claims? How the whole claim ka process works out? So there are two ways for the claims, which are like primarily which we use. One is a cashless facility and another is a reimbursement. So we recommend people ki you should buy a plan from a company which has like a very good network hospitals in India. Reason is in the network hospitals, you will get the claim on a cashless basis. And how this cashless works is you just have to go into a hospital, just have to tell your policy number to them, and you might need to submit like a 5 or 10,000 ka deposit, and that's it. You are done. And all the other things will automatically be sent to the company and the claim will be approved for you. So this is the best thing to do in terms of the claims. But unfortunately, let's say you had to hospitalize in a hospital where there is no, it's not in the network of the company that you have bought a plan from. So in that case, you have to do a reimbursement process. And how this reimbursement works is you have to collate all the bills, all the prescriptions that doctor has given, and then send it to the company and get it approved and all. So this is a little tedious process to be frank. So yeah, that's something you might need a help into like that. So that's how it is. But yeah, these are the two mostly opt for cashless. In the last, in the worst case scenarios, only try to go for a reimbursement basis. Then another thing that people ask us is, Swapnil, so everything is done, but the biggest confusion that we have is which companies we should buy a plan from. That's a very like dicey thing to go because there are a lot of companies. So how this works is at Ditto we believe one thing that you have to look into in terms of choosing a brand is how much is the claim settlement ratio. So you might get some numbers like 95%, 97%, like that. Make sure any company you're buying a plan from, they at least have like a 95% of claim settlement ratio. That means they're not denying a lot of claims. So that gives you a peace of mind. That's one thing. And another thing, as I mentioned, ki cashless claims are always the best. So we recommend that you should have a very good network hospitals. Else you have to do a lot of reimbursement claims, which are not like super awesome like that. So yeah, network hospitals and claim settlement is what you should look into primarily. But at Ditto, we also look into few things like TPAs. TPAs are like third party agents which are involved in the claim processing. But in India, the problem is TPAs are incentivized in a manner to give less and less claim or reject the claim like that. So at Ditto, we believe we should not buy a health plan from any company which employs TPAs. The claim should be done in-house. All the claims should be handled by the company directly. That's what we recommend to do. So that is about the brands that you can how you can choose into.
Swapnil bhai, just a second. What was the name? TP?
TPA, third party agencies, like that.
Okay.
So what happens is if you buy a plan from any public sector company like United, Oriental, or whatever it is, they have a very big base of people which they are catering to. So they don't have that much amount of strength to themselves. So what they do is they hire agencies which will help them in the claims and everything like that. But the problem is these agencies are incentivized on the basis ki how many claims they reject or how much lesser amount they give. So that's a problem like that. That's why we don't want to get into the whole scenario of the TPS. So good. So we'll move on to the next thing, that is top ups and super top ups. So this is like a new thing everyone might be hearing. Okay, just buy a small plan and buy a super top up or a top up onto it. But I will just tell you how this top up and super top up works. So the whole concept of this is, let's say if someone has already a 10 lakh ka plan, but they want to enhance it, let's say to, let's say 50 lakhs or so. So they can buy a top up or a super top up of 40 lakhs more, and they will get it at a very low cost. Reason is how this top ups works or super top up works is they will not pay for the initial 10 lakhs ka bill. So there is a deductible component into it. So if I have a 10 lakh ka plan already, I can tell them ki I already have a 10 lakh ka plan. So any bill which comes up in the first 10 lakhs, I'm going to pay through a different insurer like that. Because of this guarantee, the top ups and super top ups, the pricing is lower. So what these, let's say, I will take an example to differentiate how the top ups and super top ups are different. But let's start with the example only. So let's say I take an example of, let's say, Mr. A, who has a 10 lakh ka basic plan and a 90 lakhs ka top up and or a super top up like that. And what will happen is if the Mr. A gets admitted and he gets a 9 lakh rupees ka claim in January. Let's say he bought the plan in January mein 9 lakhs ka claim aata. What will happen is only 1 lakh is remaining then out of his cover like that. So he will be scared, right? Ki my cover is lesser, but he is okay. Ki, okay, I have a top up or a super top up, whatever I have bought. So he's like chill like that. But next time, again in February, he gets admitted. And at that time, again, let's say the claim comes up for 7 lakh rupees. So what is actually going to happen is in this case, the 7 lakh will not be fully paid by the company. The reason is only 1 lakh rupees was remaining because of the previous claim of 9 lakhs. So only 1 lakh rupees will be paid and 6 lakhs will not be paid in the normal case. But this guy, let's say, was a Hoshyar guy and he had bought a top up. So wo case mein, how this top ups work is they say for a particular hospitalization, if you exceed the amount of the base plan, that is, let's say 10 lakhs. So if you exceed this 10 lakh ka amount, we will pay the upar ka bill. So, but now what has happened is he only made a bill of 7 lakhs, which is less than 10. So top up will not pay anything like that. But next time in the March, if he gets again hospitalized and if the bill is 15 lakh rupees, now the amount is exceeding 10 lakhs. So the above 5 lakhs will be paid by a top up. Like that. So that's how top ups work. Top ups were used a little bit, top ups are an older concept like that. That's why you see there is a flaw, right? A little bigger amount of bill has to be paid by the person like that. So that's why the super top ups came in. How the super top up says, they don't say ki every hospitalization you have to surpass 10 lakh rupees. What they say is in a given year, if you surpass 10 lakhs, all the bill above that we will pay. No worries. So in super top up, let's take the same case. First 9 lakh claim. So 1 lakh is remaining from the basic policy. Next February 7 lakh rupees claim, 1 lakh is paid out of the base, 6 lakhs will be paid by a super top up because totally 10 lakhs is paid by the base policy already like that. Again, next claim comes up for 15 lakhs. In that also, the earlier 10 lakhs will, the whole claim will be paid by a super top up like that. because already 10 lakhs is in a year is already paid by another policy. Like that. That's why super top-ups are very, very good thing compared to top-ups. Like that. So that's something you can look into. But again, a lot of people say ki what I will do is I will buy a 5 lakh ka policy and I will buy 95 lakhs ka super top up. Like that. So these are the ideas that a lot of people will get after this. But frankly speaking, basic policies have the features like no claim bonus, restoration, and all. But super top ups and all don't have these features like that. So you have to look into those things. Okay, you should not miss out on a lot of features. So at Ditto, we recommend that you should have a very good base policy like that. At least like let's say a 10 lakhs or so. That's the policy that we recommend. That's like a minimum thing. So yeah, that's how it is. And yeah, we are like opening for any questions that you all guys have, and we'll just talk you through. So yeah, cool.
Yeah, super presentation. So now the forum is open to everyone. I request everyone to please unmute themselves and participate and ask your questions to Swapnil bhai. Let's wait for 5 minutes more. If
Sure.
anyone has any questions, please ask.
Yeah. And what I can also do is there are few like if people don't have. Okay, I think we have someone. Yeah. So if people don't have questions, then I can answer few of the frequently asked questions to us. But yeah, let's first give chance to people. So yeah.
Let's Kamshit sir, Amit sir, Rishabh bhai, Amit bhai. If anyone has any questions, please go ahead. Manisha, Chintan bhai, Jeet bhai. If anyone has any questions, please go ahead.
What is your view about taking multiple policies?
Okay, yeah. So this is something which we have been asked a lot of time. People are like, okay, what I will do is I will buy policies from two companies so that either one of them will pay or something like that. That's the idea. But what I will tell you is now, rather than buying two subpar policies, buying a one very good policy, which might be a little expensive, makes a lot of sense like that. So that's what we recommend because we have seen there is a difference in the premiums depending on which company you go to and what kind of features you're looking at. So good policies are expensive like that. So we recommend to buy a good single policy because let's say if someone has 10 lakh two policies and if the claim is 20 lakh rupees, combining them is a hassle. Reason behind that is one of the claim will be done on a cashless basis. Another claim will be done on a reimbursement basis where you have to pay the whole 10 lakhs and then get it reimbursed. But if you had a 20 lakh ka whole policy, the whole claim would have been done by a single company. And in terms of pricing, I will tell you 10 lakh versus 20 lakhs, it's not double the price. It's hardly, I would say, 40% or so extra like that. So cost effectiveness is also more if you buy a bigger plan and a good plan at a single company. Like that. So yeah.
Another way of putting this topic is that should we cover a family policy that is better, or should we have like a couple policy and a parent policy separate, a child policy separate, and that way?
Okay. Sure. So in that case, now I will recommend separate your parents from your family. Every family should have their own policies. Reason is when you will go to buy a policy, you will understand that there are rules like two adults can only be in a policy. In a good policy, these rules are there. Only two adults. So if you are trying to add your parents also now, then you are going for a subpar policy actually, most of the time. So best policies don't allow like four adults or so. So that's one thing. Another thing is your parents might have some pre-existing conditions because of which you might not get the best policies out there. You might have to settle for like second or third based policy. But in that case, if you're buying the same for your family, that's not a good idea because your family can get the best policy out there. So it's always good to separate it out And in terms of taxation, also it works good because for your own family, you can claim up to 25,000 in taxes in 80D. And for your parents, if their age is below 60 years, they can claim 25,000. You can claim 25,000. If their age is above 60 or 60, you can claim up to 50,000 like that. So taxation wise and everything wise, it's good to separate parents and yourself. So yeah.
Thanks.
Swapnil, okay.
Cool.
I
I
have a
think I,
question.
yeah, go ahead, Manisha. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are a lot of companies who provide family policies, insurance policies to the family. So is it better to take it on your own or go by them? What is provided by the organization for the family?
Okay, you're talking about the corporate plans, right?
Yes, yes.
Which companies give to you.
Yes,
Okay.
to the employee.
It's a tricky part. Reason is none. You have to look into your corporate plans because I have seen almost all Indian MNCs ke corporate plans, and if I recall, good Uber has a good plan, Amazon has a good plan, but not a lot of companies have the best corporate plans because for them the rule is very simple. The company paying 10,000 extra per employee is a very big cost for them. So what they try to do is they try to lower their cost like that. And because of which you are getting a subpar insurance, which will have co-payments, which will have room rent restriction, which will not have restoration or no claim bonus ka benefits. And the biggest concern that you should have with a corporate plan is if we leave a company now, that day it stops like that. So it's the biggest problem. And recently we had a very
So in
bad
that
case.
case, at that particular age, we need to buy our own new policies. That becomes costly.
Yeah. No, it rather than costly, I would tell you the
Yes.
biggest factor is you might not get a policy also like that. So recently I had an example.
Oh, okay.
A couple was working wife in JP Morgan or something and like that. Like both were investment bankers, but the wife got detected with cancer
Hmm.
years back. She had to stop working, so her health insurance from the company stopped. So they only had his husband's health plan, which was like 10 lakhs or so. And what happened is they tried to buy another plan, but no one gives a plan if a person has an illness, let's say a cancer or anything related to heart and all. So buying at that point is harder. Even think about a normal condition like hypertension. If someone has a hypertension, not getting covered, anything related to heart for 3 to 4 years is a very big thing like that. So at least for my family, all three of us at my house work, me, my mom and dad. Still, it has been like 5 years or so, which we have a plan. Like I was not working at that point, but still my father has made sure that we have a separate plan always with us. So that even if we jump companies, even if we take a 1 month or 2 months break or whatever it is, we are not thinking, "Arey, I cannot stop because I will not have a corporate plan." That independence has to be there with you like that. So yeah,
Thank you.
good. I think we have Vihar and Amit for questions. So yeah, Vihar, you can go ahead.
Hi, Swapnil.
Yeah, hi.
So I just wanted to know how is recently a claim of mine got rejected
Mhm.
through HDFC Ergo because
Okay.
of, because they think that there is some misrepresentation from my side. So
Okay.
I have applied to Ombudsman in Mumbai.
Okay.
So, but it is taking too long. Ombudsman is, I guess, it is because it is government controlled.
Yeah.
So it is taking too long. And so, what is the way? Because it is my father had to go undergo angioplasty.
Mhm.
So the stent and everything was fitted, and like it is more than 8 months now. I have applied to Ombudsman, but there is no response from them.
Okay. Cool. So this is the trickiest part, but one thing I will tell you is HDFC Ergo
Hmm.
is one of still the best companies to buy a health plans from India in
Hmm.
India currently. Like that. We have also fought a lot of cases in ombudsman for our clients because at Ditto the whole idea is if someone is buying a plan through us, their claim is our liability like that.
Yes.
So I think we applied for second case 3 weeks before in our ombudsman. First case we have one already, but as you told, it's a longer process. But what happens is if you are with someone who has a leverage, then the chances of getting the claim at that point, without going to ombudsman also is a higher, matlab, with the leverage, and going through ombudsman also, it's a little faster if you have someone with you. What I will recommend in your particular case is, we would have loved to come in and help you, but it's not possible because in India there is a rule: if the policy that you have bought is not through us, not through Ditto, we cannot engage in any sort in helping you. That's a little bit of problem because they have to create that divide. But there is a company called Insurance Samadhan, which
Ah.
you should approach and talk to them and take a help from them, and that will be awesome for you, I guess. So that's
Because
the best.
there are a couple of more companies like this, Insurance Samadhan, who take a percentage of the claim amount after
Yeah.
after your claim is passed.
Yes. Yeah.
So I have heard of them, but I was thinking whether they are the right, but those are the
Uh,
right companies to approach or not.
don't go for any other one. Try to go with Insurance Samadhan because
Okay,
we are also actually thinking of working with these guys
okay,
for the future, but that's under talks. But these are authentic people. They have a lot of good experience and all because
okay.
we had interacted with them. So we feel a sense of security with them at least. Not
Okay, so
sure
they are
about other
based out of
companies, but
Mumbai.
Insurance Samadhan. Mm, not sure matlab, if they have an office in Mumbai, but you can check out their website and you can talk to them,
Okay,
I guess.
okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Amit, you can go ahead.
Yeah, Swapnilji, thank you for the insightful presentation from you. I had two questions. First was how to determine the value of the insurance what we have to take.
Okay. Mhm.
Is there any thumb rule for that? Because
Mhm.
my age is 38, my father is 67, 68.
Okay. Mhm.
Right, my son is 10 years old, so we have a mix of age groups within our family also.
Mhm.
So how to select the value first?
Mhm.
And we all of us have mediclaim policy as well as the personal accident policies,
Mhm.
specifically with respect to the health insurance.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
is there any option that we can get both of these policies as a one policy, or we have to take it separately only?
I will try to answer the second question first because first is a little complex. So
Yeah,
regarding the second
yeah.
question, regarding the personal accidental one now, it's a very different thing. What happens in personal accidental cover is if someone's demise happens due to accident, it's going to cover it, or
Okay.
disabilities or something like that. But it's not related actually with the health wala part. So there are riders, means in a policy you can buy that rider when you're
Mhm.
buying a health plan, but we don't recommend it, to be honest. Reason
Okay.
is we recommend at Ditto that you should have a proper term insurance.
Okay.
That's something we recommend. And yeah, we can take a session onto that because like I'm also expert in term, but that's another whole topic like that. So that thing will term insurance will cover you for all types of demises, be it accidental, be it any kind of like that.
Yeah.
So if a
Home
person has
insurance
a
I
term
already
insurance,
have.
then they don't, yeah, then awesome, right? Then you don't need a personal accidental cover specifically. Add it in a term plan only. That's more good because all types of deaths are covered in that case. So yeah.
Okay, so if I have a term insurance, so I don't need the personal accident policy now?
Yeah, don't need it. You don't need it because term insurance covers everything, all types of demises
Okay,
like that.
okay, okay. And
Yeah.
one more question. So if I have a term insurance as well as a personal accident policy, and
Mhm.
suppose in the case of my death in any accident, so will I get the claim from both the policies or
Yes,
any one of them?
both the policies. Even
Both the policies.
every employed person in India has a 3 times of his CTC as a personal accidental cover also. So he
Okay.
gets claimed out of that also. So that's
That is
there.
Okay.
Just
super.
Amit, that's a compulsory thing. 3 times of your CTC like that. So you can check your offer letters. I have seen very generous companies also which give 5 times the CTC. That's also there. Just one thing, Amit, you missed the first question. So first question I haven't answered. That's the tricky part.
Yeah.
How this works is now when determining a cover, like for example, I will tell you my family has like 22 lakhs cover in terms of health insurance. Like that. And how we determine ki how much cover someone has is first thumb rule is don't go below 10. Never. Okay, that's
Okay.
one thumb rule. Another thing is if you live in a tier one city, like let's say for example, I live in Navi Mumbai, Mumbai, like that. So for me, the health costs are more compared to someone living in a tier 2 or tier 3, like that. So I will try to go towards, let's say, 15 or so. But it also depends on what kind of hospitals do you prefer. Because there are a lot of my friends whose families go to very normal hospitals, like that. But my family, my dad is a pharma expert. So my dad want to go to Forties or Apollos or Max, like that.
Okay.
So that's why if you look at the kharcha for a same person living in a same city, going to Forties versus a normal hospital, it's 2x, 3x different, like that. There's a big, huge gap. So you also have to look at what kind of hospital. You have to look into, I think, yeah, put it. So you have to look into something like what kind of hospitals do you prefer? If you're preferring 40s Apollos, 20 lakhs is what you should go for. I would say 15 to 20, like that. So that's the thumb rule you can follow. And for your parents, though, I will recommend you to go as high as possible, 15, 20 or so. But the bigger bottleneck that comes into picture is about the premiums, because after one time now the premiums go a little higher. So you have to keep in that also in mind, ki premiums, how to deal with. So if you ask me, good policy with a smaller cover versus moderate policy with a bigger cover, always go with a good policy with a smaller cover, because as I told you, there is a restoration in all benefits. Where if you have a 10 lakh cover, again 10 lakhs every hospitalization you can use, which is super awesome, like that. So it's more important to select a good policy and moderate the cover as per your premium expectations. So, but yeah, it's a tricky part.
Yeah.
Thin line to walk on, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
I think we have Mayur, who has raised a hand. So yeah, Mayur, you can go.
Yeah, I have a question. I had a discussion with a friend of mine who says that his premium is increasing every year by 10 to 15% in a medical health insurance plan.
Yeah, good. So that's very true. So what has happened is the biggest jump came in the COVID, because all the insurance industry works on a statistical basis. कि okay, if we are insuring 100 people, 10 लोगों का ही claim आएगा. That's how the numbers are, like example. But in the COVID, all that got tossed off. Rather than 10, 25 people started claiming every year. And because of that, all insurers were under a lot of pressure. So what IRDA did is they approved a bigger hike of 10 to 15%, like that. So a lot of people faced a bigger hike. But frankly speaking, health insurance is a thing which, if something like COVID doesn't happen, if normal situations are there, still there will be a hike of 5 to 6% every year. And if a company doesn't do a hike every year, then they might do after 2 years a 5 or 10% hike, like that. So it depends completely on a product or a company basis. But all these hikes are actually approved by IRDA. So never think ki a person is getting screwed up by a company.
On the side.
Can you repeat that?
To kind of compensate on it, you can always buy insurance companies share market stocks on the side. They are also always on a rise.
Okay. That's something you can explore onto, but we cannot comment on that because we don't have a license for that. But yeah, we can try
Swapnil,
that.
is this hike always given in the terms and conditions? Like that 5 to 6% will be done?
Right now, if you look into the policy document, they will tell you ki today what will be the price for this age groups. There will be a chart of it, as it. But they can also not guess the future ka hike because it actually depends on the inflation of India, like that. So whatever is the inflation, let's say महंगाई 5% से बढ़ रहा है, so that means value of money is going down by 5%. So they have to hike by 5% actually, like that. So that's like inevitable thing that's going to happen, but they cannot predict it like that. So it's not in their hands also.
So that's again regulated by IRDA, right? They cannot
Yeah,
do it as per
IRDA.
their own discretion.
हाँ मतलब tomorrow HDFC cannot come and say कि let's hike it by 20%. They cannot do like that. They have to get it approved by IRD, and IRD doesn't approve such things. They are very strict about a lot of stuff. So yeah, cool. So Mayur, hope your doubt is solved. Or Vihar also has a hand up. If you have another question, you can ask. So, yeah.
Yes, I got it clarity.
Okay, sure. That's great, Mayur. Yeah. Cool. So, anyone else has any more doubts that are there? But I think what all questions that I also had with me, like ideal cover is covered by Amit sir. Then about the corporate plans and all was covered by Manisha ma'am. And then about how to, like, there is one frequently asked question that I had with me is how to buy insurance when someone is having a PED for their parent. Someone's parent already have diabetes or blood pressure and all. How to buy a plan for them. So one thing that you have to look into is there are specialized plans by companies where they will give you zero waiting periods on diabetes or blood pressure, which is the best thing to buy for parents because you don't want to wait for 3 to 4 years like that. So that's something you can look into. Another thing is even if you don't want to go for these plans because those are a little expensive ones, what idea you can do is for the 3 4 years cover them in a corporate plan so that if a claim comes up, that corporate plan will cover them because corporate plan don't have any waiting periods like that. The corporate plan will cover, and after 3 to 4 years, you can completely rely on your retail plan, which will 100% cover your parents for the PEDs also like that. But it's always tricky to get a health plan after a PED. So consult with the expert. So that's something you can do. And regarding you might get some like websites and all shared by Akshay to you about Ditto. So you can go and book appointments and all. So that's something that works out. So yeah.
I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. How is Ditto different than a good trusted agent of insurance that we might know?
Okay, that's very often asked the questions. So one thing is about like I will tell you like a normal example. My dad have like 20 LIC policies or like health plans and all, but whoever agent they had bought from now, those agents kind of keep switching companies most of the time. Okay, and if they're not switching, I have seen a lot of agents are with their children's in America, Germany, UK, and all. Matlab, as their age increases, they stop doing the things or something like that. And another bigger factor I can highlight you is the agents which you will go through now. They know the part of how the policy details and all these things, but they will have an experience of the claims also, but they don't have the leverage that we have. For example, if there is a claim which is not getting approved by an insurance company, we can put a lot of pressure onto the company. Reason is for that company, let's say we are getting, let's say, crores of business a month like that. So for them, they giving a claim which they are not approving, which a person has directly gone versus through us, the chances are higher that the claims will get approved through us because of the leverage that we have. And another thing is even if they don't approve, let's say. But if our team feels okay, this is a genuine claim and let's fight for it. So we have done that in the past. As I told you, like second case we are in ombudsman. First case we have won already. Like that, and we will for sure won the second. Will in the second case also like that. So that's the support that you are getting extra, which maybe agent might not have that much experience onto about fighting in a court and all. So that's the idea.
So does Ditto have more compensation than the agents, or is it the same?
It should be same.
The referral.
Okay, it should be. Yeah. So how this works is we have a corporate agent license. So government puts some amount of like commissions that we get out of every plan that is given through us. But it should be similar to the agent. But for you, I will tell you one thing. For you, the prices will be same. You buy through us or you buy directly from any company's websites. When you buy offline, prices are higher in a lot of companies. But when you buy online, whatever is the online ka price, at Ditto you will get at the same price. So that's also something that is there. Yeah. So prices will not be different. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any more doubts that are there? Yeah, Akshay, you are on mute actually.
Yeah, so this is the final call. If anyone has any questions, please go ahead. Shraddha ma'am, Chintan bhai, Cheta ma'am, or Manisha ma'am. Shraddha ma'am, are you live? Okay, no issues. So I feel like everyone has asked the questions. So let me appreciate for all the knowledge that you have given to us. You actually made sure that all the questions were answered very nicely in minutest details. And that is something we entrepreneurs admire the most in anyone who comes to address us. Thank you so much for coming to for this evening. And yes, we'll be keeping in touch with you. I'll be sharing your email ID or something. I'll take it from Nimit and I'll share with our alumni. And if there is any session coming up, we will of course give you the first preference because of the kind of explanation that you gave. So thank you from EDI Alumni Association and thank you from all the alumni members to you.
Yes,
Thank you to
Swapnil.
Ditto Insurance.
Thank you.
That was a very
I would also
nice
like
session.
Thank you,
Swapnil?
Swapnilji. Thank you, Akshay.
Yeah, Manisha ma'am.
Yes, I
Thanks,
want to
everyone.
add that very well explained, very nicely and very calmly. So very well received also.
And I will tell you, like, this is the best crowd. Like, you asked the most important questions that a person should ask. So it's always good to have a good crowd when you speak. So yeah, that's awesome.
Thank
Chalo.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for your time.
yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you
Have
so
a nice
much.
day.
So
Bye.
enjoy. Bye.
कॉल एंड कर रहे हैं ना
₹24 पे थी। इक्कीस जगह 24। अच्छा, अपना क्या नाम आ जाए? ओके। बाहर जाओ यार अंदर।